So since we're using Google Scholar, it's easiest to start from Google. And um, we do Google Scholar. Let's see, I can click here and you can see some of the people that I've looked up in the past or that I follow. Um, and first, what I'm going to do is show you the profile view, and I'm going to show you from the inside of one of those profiles. So yeah, we're just going to start from inside a profile. And so, for example, what this does is this shows my name, a picture of me, pretty dated, my verified email, that I have a verified email at Morgan State University, some of the topics that I have some expertise in, so pain processing, non-invasive brain stimulation, psychophysics of painful stimuli, etc. Um, it also shows some numbers over here, a chart. This chart shows how many times my work has been cited in each, or work that I've been a co-author on, or work that I've done the primary work on, has been cited. You can see if you hover over this in 2024, my articles were cited 119 times. I'm an assistant professor. I, you know, I've I've done a lot of work on my own. I have a lot of other responsibilities. So my H index is 12. I-10 index is 12. Both of those are metrics that are important if you're in academia and not important if you're anyone else. And then the default view for Google Scholar is that it will show, for a Google Scholar profile, will show you the papers in order of citations. So you can see here, there's a paper that I published in 2018 with several colleagues at University of Maryland, Baltimore that has 161 references, citations. If I click on that number, I can see what papers have cited that. Um, and this just gives me a list of the papers that are, and their citations. So, um, there's systematic reviews, there's resting state EEG, there's actually a lot of systematic reviews on that. Sort of neuroimage and pain, which are up to uh, large journals, um, well-respected academic journals, um, and they're, decent work. Um, this I'm kind of proud of. This was my PhD dissertation work. And if we click on it, it's actually freely available because it's in Frontiers in Neuroscience. So you can sort of see abstract, introduction, materials and methods. Um, there's lots of materials and methods. Group level analysis. It was pretty intense. It was a randomized controlled trial in healthy participants, which basically just means a randomized experimental trial of this intervention. Um, and so, it's um, was published in 2019. It's been cited 80 times or 79 times, almost 80 times. And all of my articles are in public access, which is not exactly true, but is true enough as far as Google knows. So I can show this, the rest of this, and you can look and see. Now, some of the things that are a little misleading is that this is my master's dissertation from 2012. So that's not a published article. And these preceded by an S number, it's supplement, stands for supplement, Journal of Pain supplement, page S16. These are actually abstracts. So it's interesting that it cuts off the abstract, but whatever. I mean, it's limited at a certain number of words. Um, And so, it also has a number on it. So that's like the number of the abstract in the abstract book. So this is not a full publication. It's work that I did sort of publish preliminarily. Um, let's see here. So, it gives you an idea of who I've published with the most. These are some um, very well respected researchers. Um, David Semenowitz was on my PhD dissertation committee. Uh, Dr. Bienvenu was my postdoc advisor. Luana Cloca and Claudia Campbell were also played some role in my postdoc. Um, so if we click on one of their profiles, you'll see what you get to see from outside. So David is a professor at University of Western Ontario in London, Ontario, Canada. Um, he has several, he has about 10 times the number of citations I do per year. He also is probably 10 years my senior, maybe something like that, something to shoot for. His H index is 45. The higher the number, the better. H indexes can be complicated, and I'm not going to worry about that. Um, he has 94 articles that are publicly accessible. And if you look at his highest cited papers are from the 2000s. And if you look, he's already published 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, several papers this year and several. But the thing is also that you can see is that um, replies to journal um, letters to the editor are in here as well. He's been working on a pain sensitivity biomarker for the last, I guess, 10 years now almost. So that sort of gives you an idea of Google Scholar. And what we can do also is we can just look for articles. So I clearly had done a look at Zoloft versus Prozac binding profiles. I was just curious about that. So if we do the same word search that we did at PubMed, wound healing, Lantago. Oops, help if I could spell. I'll just do Plantago. We get 9,000 results. So it's a lot more to to dig through, but almost all these results are, while many of them are available, many of them are in peer-reviewed journals. It shows many of the versions as well and the version history and things like that. So it's actually, I find it a little more difficult to use because it is actually sort of more complicated. And so we have scholar.archive.org. This is the Iraqi Journal of Veterinary Sciences. I'm sure that they're respectable, but they may not be listed with PubMed, so they may not. And it's actually can be interesting because you can find articles that are not, because PubMed.gov by its origin is sort of Eurocentric, Western centric. And so that's, possibly a drawback. So this is biotechnic and histochemistry. And Plantago, you have the abstract. This is peer reviewed. There may be questions about, if you have questions about the journal, you can always go to the journal and say, okay, well, what's going on with this journal? Why is this Was this on the PubMed or was it not? Didn't show up too high. Um, it does say that the journal's been continuous publication since 1926, which is pretty good. Um, does it say their impact factor is 1.4, which is not bad. Generally, an impact factor below one. It depends on the field, really. But yeah, they have a editor-in-chief, University of Rochester. So, it's an official journal for the Biological Stain Commission, which maybe they just don't get a lot of traction. So I'm kind of surprised that that didn't come up in our PubMed search, but maybe again it was an older article. So that's what you can do with Google Scholar. Like I said, it has a ton of results that you'd have to work through, but there may be very useful, and there's a lot of overlap, and there may be very useful information here that you would miss elsewhere. So I'm going to call it a wrap. I think that what's important here is that you can use these search engines and sort of get an idea of what you may encounter in literature. If you ever have any questions, feel free to email me. If you're in my class, you know my email. And I will wish you to have a good evening. Thank you.